I didn't realize that everyone has a problem with the age belt. I think people just must associate it with people who want to show off. Hi guys, my name is G.P.S. and welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to quickly sit down to film a new intro for today's video, which is going to be the continuation, aka part 2 of the last video that went up on my channel on Sunday, which was my reaction to your unpopular opinions and thoughts about Hermes. And I had no intentions of splitting up the video into 2 parts. But once I was done editing, I realized that it would have been way too long to just upload it in one chunk. So I ended up splitting it up into 2 parts. Part 1 went live on Sunday. So in case you haven't seen that, I'll make sure to have it linked down below. And then today's is going to be part 2. But because this wasn't my original plan, I didn't have an intro filmed for today's video. So in case you notice my outfit change in the next 5 seconds, you know that's what's going on. But without further ado, let's pick up on where we left off on Sunday and jump into talking about what you guys truly think about Hermes. DIWH.org said mostly everything from Hermes is ugly except for the Kelly, the Birkin, and things with the Kelly logo. So I think the Kelly logo, you must mean the Kelly twist closure, because the Kelly logo, it doesn't really have a logo to it. It just says Hermes Paris made in France, which is what all Hermes pieces say. So I think you mean the Kelly twist closure, which I'm personally a huge fan of. I don't think I've ever seen something with a Kelly twist closure that I didn't love. But obviously I'm going to disagree with this. I personally love a lot of things from Hermes. I'm definitely not blinded by Hermes. I'm not one of those people who just blindly buys and loves everything from Hermes. As long as it comes in an orange box, I'm going to be all over it. There are quite a few things that I appreciate and like from Hermes. There are things that I appreciate the idea and the concept behind, and then there are pieces that I think just look hideous. But I would have to say that the big majority are pieces that I either like or love or appreciate. But I have no doubt that you're not alone in thinking that the only things that are worth buying from Hermes are the Kellys and the Birkins. I even have really good friends who have huge collections of Hermes bags, Kellys and Birkins, but they wouldn't buy anything else from the brand. Or they do, but only because they're expecting to get a bag. So if you think like this, absolutely buy Birkins and Kellys, but I think then the pre-loved or the resale market are probably your best bets, because there is really no point for you to waste your money on pieces that you're not going to enjoy. And if you think about it, yes, you might get your bag from the boutique, but you do have to buy quite a bit in most cases. So I think you're going to save actually money by buying a bag secondhand or buying a bag from the pre-loved market, because if you're not going to enjoy anything else from Hermes, there's really no point wasting your money. But if you don't like anything else, don't buy anything else. I think it's really as simple as that. But if you love the Kellys and the Birkins, then thankfully there are plenty of resources out there for you to get your bags from. The Brazilian guy said, I would definitely go for a Roulis instead of the Constance. Way more daring and less showy. So I have a video on the Roulis bag. I do own the Roulis bag in the larger size, which is probably one of my least used bags from Hermes. Even though it's a nice bag, it is kind of similar to the Constance, the way you use it and interact with it, but the hardware is quite different. So I think it really comes down to what you prefer. In my opinion, the Roulis is a little bit overpriced for how simple it is. The hardware is nice and it is unique, but personally I would prefer the Constance just because of the sizing and the structure. I find the Constance to be a little bit more structured and a little bit more elegant than the Roulis. The Roulis is a little bit more sort of boxy and casual, and it's definitely not a bag that I usually reach for. So if you want to learn more about my opinion and more of a comparison between the Roulis and the Constance, I'll have my Roulis video linked up here. But I can see your point. I'm personally more of a Constance person than a Roulis person. Heather Kennedy said that the Constance is the prettiest bag at its size. The Kelly and the Birkin are work/professional bags that should not be carried out for formal evening events where the dress code is cocktail or formal. I personally have to completely agree with this. Not with the part that the Constance is the prettiest bag. I think the Kelly and the Birkin are equally beautiful. But I personally don't think that any one of these bags are made for a more formal event. When I see someone carrying a Birkin to a red carpet event or something that is a little bit more formal, it just sort of always conveys to me that they want to show off that they have a Birkin at home, but what they're showing off at the same time is that they don't have taste. Because the Birkin is not really a bag that you would carry to a formal event. Maybe a Birkin 20 you could, but not even a 25 in my opinion. It doesn't matter the leather. Because of the top handles and the overall shape, it's more of a tote bag rather than a formal bag. It obviously depends on when the event is and how formal it is, but if they have a red carpet and it's sort of a black or white tie event, I don't think a Birkin should pass. With the Kellys, I guess some could argue that a mini Kelly would be a more formal bag. Not in my opinion, especially with the shoulder strap. When it comes to more formal events, I think the Kelly cut would be a great bag. The GJ could be quite nice. So if you're someone who goes to a lot of these formal events, you could look into one of those bags. I personally wouldn't even suggest carrying a Constance to a more formal event because of the shoulder strap. Maybe a Veru mini chain is something that you would like. So there are plenty of bags in the Hermes portfolio that are more sort of formal, but definitely not their sort of more popular bags. The Kelly, the Birkin, the Constance, I don't think that they were made for the gala season. Okay, we have a comment here from Magix25, which is not actually about Hermes. And Magix25 said, I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but the Dior friendship bracelet, in my opinion, is not worth spending on. Love your videos. First of all, thank you, Magix25. I completely agree with, I was never a big fan of the Dior friendship bracelets, they call them. I know that they are somewhere around like $420, $450 for a pack of 2 of them, and they look like something that kids make in summer camp. I'm not a fan. I don't think you should spend any more than $20 on one of those bracelets. The next comments came from MK, who said that I'm not fond of the H belt. Very tacky, especially in exotic leather. I didn't realize that everyone has a problem with the H belt. I think people just must associate it with people who want to show off, and I guess it just really depends on how you style them. It's definitely not a piece that you want to wear with that sort of really heavily branded Gucci t-shirt with a pair of heavily bleached jeans with something like the Triple S shoes from Balenciaga and then put an H belt on top of it. I completely agree that is going to look really tacky. Although it probably would have looked tacky without the H belt as well, but I think that's just the cherry on top. I think it really comes down to styling, but I'm personally a big fan of the H belt, and I think when you said exotic leather, you refer to the strap, which is something that I personally quite like in Met Alligator. I would never spend the money on it because I think an alligator strap is about like $4,000, just under $4,000, which is insane. I would never spend the money unless I bought one of the exceptional pieces of Hermes buckles, which are usually made of solid gold. But yeah, I personally don't have a problem with the H belt. I guess I might be the only one. And then MK also said, I also highly dislike the Click H and any other enamel bracelets. Awful quality. Even the dupes and fakes can be better made sometimes. 1000% agree. I've never been a fan of the Click H bracelet. I talked about this many times before, that I think it just sort of cheapens any sort of look. But there are people out there who love them, and I respect that. If you enjoy it, if you think that it adds a pop of color to your collection, don't worry about MK and me. Just enjoy your bracelet. The enamel bracelets, some of them I quite like. I think it comes down to what you're going to pair them with. But the Click H bracelet, I think it's one of those pieces that is just really hard to style and pull off. Usually you can stack fashion jewelry pieces with fine jewelry pieces to sort of elevate them. With the Click H, no matter what you put it with, it's just going to make everything look extremely cheap, in my personal opinion. I don't know about fakes and dupes, but to be honest with you, I really couldn't tell the difference, because even the real ones that I've seen and the one that I have, I mean, I don't know how much worse they can get. And then MK also said that I also dislike the Chandon range of silver jewelry. Again, it doesn't look luxurious or even refined, it just looks fake. I love anything Shandong. I mean, I haven't seen anything with the Shandong print or the Shandong motif on it that I wasn't a big fan of. So this has to be a polite disagree. And then I hate the combination of exotic leathers and funky colors. Pink, purple, green. When it comes to special order Birkins, I wouldn't buy them, that's for sure, but I do quite like a neon yellow matte croc bag. I think that could be stunning. Or a 5-beat pink, which is the so-called bubblegum pink croc bag, or a real shocking pink Birkin could be quite nice in a smaller size. Definitely not in larger sizes. But I don't have a problem with exotic bags in sort of more vibrant colors. And then finally, I hate the rodeo horses, which is one that we talked about a lot in my previous Unpopular Opinions video. A lot of people tend to dislike the Hermes horses, but I think the whole point and the whole idea behind them was to add this sort of juvenile kind of toy-like touch to any of your bags, and some people will like it, some people will hate it. I happen to not be a big fan of rodeos that are in the original tricolor way. I prefer the ones that are one single color, but I definitely don't dislike them with a passion. I actually quite like the ones that are one single color, but I can absolutely see why people wouldn't be a fan. Cypher said, I still can bring myself to buy luxe jewelry from Hermes, which I assume refers to fine jewelry, which in my opinion should be the only thing that you buy from Hermes. When it comes to buying and investing into pieces from Hermes, I think fine jewelry is probably the best investment that you can make into your wardrobe. I'm not talking about investing in terms of buying something and reselling and making money off of it, because outside of the Birkin, the Kelly, and the Constance, and maybe a couple of overhyped seasonal pieces, you probably won't be able to make money off of anything, and most things will not last a lifetime. But when it comes to fine jewelry, their quality, the craftsmanship, the attention to details is superior, in my opinion, at Hermes than any other high-end fine jewelry house. And their pricing is pretty reasonable compared to Cartier and the likes of Van Cleef. So I think if you gave their fine jewelry a chance, I think you would find that it would probably be the best investment you've ever made with the brand. So if there's anything that you've been eyeing, I would definitely push you to maybe giving it another look and thinking about it and seeing if it's worth, in your opinion, the investment. But in my opinion, Hermes fine jewelry is the best thing that you can buy from the brand. The next comment comes from Trixie Rose, who said that there are some bags I truly don't understand, and the cost of them is insane, such as the Cellier Evelyn, the Béton de Cray, and the Bridado back bag, which is quite an interesting point, so thank you Trixie Rose for bringing this up. I find that people get quite shocked when they hear the price of some random Hermes bags that they might have never seen or might have never even heard of. But when they hear the price of a Birkin or a Kelly, they don't even flinch, because those are bags that we have grown accustomed to associating with these crazy price tags. But the way I see this working out with Hermes, and this is coming from someone who has never worked for the brand, so this is just how I assume it must work, is that their pricing is based on the amount of work that goes into each bag, how time consuming it is to make each element on the bag, how much raw materials that they have to use, how much hardware do they have on the bag, and that's really what makes up the price of a bag, rather than how popular it's going to be and how much hype it's going to get. Because at the end of the day, Hermes is not a reseller, they're not an auction house. They know that whatever they make is going to sell, so they just have to make their own profit off of it. They don't have to make additional money like a reseller would have to. So I think that's how they work out their pricing. And because Hermes's bags, all of them are made of the most exceptional materials that you can find. All of them are created by craftsmen who trained for years and years and years to be able to work for Hermes and create bags under the Hermes umbrella. Because of these reasons, all of their bags you can expect to be quite expensive. And if you look at most of their bags at the end of the day, they are pretty exquisite. So when it comes to the quality, I'm not talking about the look. There are some pretty horrific bags that Hermes makes. But I appreciate this about Hermes. I love that no matter what they create, they try to do their best. They're always going to use the best materials available, and they're always going to ask people to create them who they know are skilled enough to create bags to the highest standard. And that's really what I think leads to these, in some cases, insane prices that you might only associate or could only justify for a Birkin or a Kelly. But if a bag features just as many pieces as a Birkin or a Kelly, it has just as much craftsmanship and attention to detail that goes into it. And if they use just as much raw materials and leather, it kind of makes sense that they would be the same price at the end of the day. According to one rule, no rules, the Kelly is the supreme Hermes bag. It can be classy and casual, comfortable to carry around because of the strap, elegant but also super trendy in the mini version. The Birkin is usually everyone's dream bag, but I only go for Kellys. I think it really depends on what you're looking for. I like the look of the Birkin more, but I reach for my Kellys more often because of the ease. As you mentioned, they come with a shoulder strap, which makes them so much easier to carry. They tend to be a little bit lighter than Birkins, and it's much easier to carry them around, especially if you live in a busy city, because the Kelly is just so much easier to open and close. So I personally find the Kelly to be a more practical bag, but I would not like to take anything away from the Birkin because it does make, the Birkin bags are just beautiful bags at the end of the day, so I wouldn't take anything away from them. I can definitely see why you could go for the Kelly. They are by far more practical, but if you're someone who drives everywhere, I think the Birkin would be just as nice of a bag, because if you just throw it next to you in the car, it really doesn't matter. So yes, the Kelly has quite a few pros to it, but so does the Birkin. The Birkin is much easier to get in and out of. It's just an easier bag to pack. It's more spacious. And I like the fact that it has two handles, so it's a little bit more secure to hold. So again, you just have to decide what you like. TC said that I love Hermes, so I won't say anything bad about them here. Louis Vuitton, on the other hand, I own two pieces from Louis Vuitton. Both are toiletry/cosmetic pouches. They work well and seem durable enough, but I have very little desire to buy anything else from them. Compared to my Hermes pieces, Louis Vuitton is cheaply made and the quality is only declining as they try and keep up with market demand. I know many avid Louis Vuitton collectors say that the quality was better years ago, and I believe them. However, I would never spend thousands on a mass-produced Louis Vuitton bag when I could buy an Hermes bag which is expertly crafted by hand. I would have to say that I personally disagree with this. I think when it comes to Louis Vuitton, there are certain pieces in their portfolio, such as the toiletry cosmetic pouches, which I would say are probably at the bottom of their tier of luxury pieces, because they're made of the Louis Vuitton canvas, which is not really something that can be compared to an Hermes leather piece. If we're going to talk about and compare Louis Vuitton to Hermes, we have to make sure that we try to keep comparing oranges to oranges and not apples to oranges, because you cannot really compare a $13,000 Hermes Birkin bag to a $1,000 Louis Vuitton tote bag. You just have different expectations when it comes to the two pieces because of the difference in price. If we're going to compare a Louis Vuitton bag to an Hermes bag, we have to make sure that we compare bags that are quite similar. And Louis Vuitton does actually have quite a few similar or sort of comparable leather bags that they create. So in my opinion, no brand can come close to the craftsmanship and the attention to details that Hermes puts into every single one of their bags. But when it comes to Louis Vuitton bags, I think they do make quite a few beautiful bags. I personally wouldn't purchase anything from them that comes in the Louis Vuitton monogram canvas. If I was to buy a more serious bag, or if I wanted to buy a bag that's comparable to the quality of Hermes and the timelessness of Hermes, I would either buy one of the Louis Vuitton leather bags, which I believe is called the Capucine, that I quite like, which are ridiculously expensive. But based on what I know and based on what I have seen, they are beautifully made. They do feature some timeless classic motifs and elements to them, and I have no doubt that they would hold up just as well as a Birkin or a Kelly would. Or I would look into one of Louis Vuitton's more iconic bags, such as the Petite Malle that I bought earlier this year, which is really quintessential to Louis Vuitton. It's not a piece that you will see from any other house. And I feel that those would be sort of a more fair comparison than comparing Louis Vuitton canvas to an Hermes leather bag. Even if you try to compare an Hermes piece to another Hermes piece, you couldn't really do that. For example, the Bolide canvas pouch, which is one that I absolutely love, I still couldn't compare that to a leather Hermes bag because they're just sort of different things. And that's how I look at the Louis Vuitton canvas pieces and compare them to the Louis Vuitton leather pieces and the Hermes leather pieces. I look at them as completely two different worlds, and I couldn't really even make a comparison. But I definitely agree with what you're saying. When it comes to Hermes, you know, you can rely on their craftsmanship, they are timeless, and Louis Vuitton is really not known for that. Unfortunately, they are losing touch with their clients who wanted that timelessness and that sort of elegance from them, and they're sacrificing it to keep up with the youth and the new consumer that they're trying to attract. We'll see how it works out for them, but I wouldn't give up on them just yet. But this is it, guys. This completes today's video on my reactions to your Unpopular Hermes opinions. If you guys enjoyed this, then please let me know in the comment section if you would want me to do a part 3. If there are any similar video ideas that you would want me to do, I'd be happy to do them because these videos are so much fun to film. And if you enjoyed this, then please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!